Okay. Now that the number display class is done, let's see how I can use it to compose a clock, right? And that's the idea behind your assignment too. Okay, so in a car, the car is composed of, it's a composition, has an engine, has a gas tank, has a body, and the fourth part, right? So that's how you will compose it. That's what composition is. So let's see what composition is and how do we use it. Okay, think about this in a way. I'm kind of drawing a pic so that it's easy for you to see. So suppose I had a clock, right? And in the clock, I want to show the hours here. And again, it is very easily extendable to showing the seconds also. It's not tough at all. It's the same. It's just one more of it. Now tell me what kind of instance variables will you use for hours and what kind of instance variable will you use for minutes? What are these hours and minutes? The hours and minutes, basically the hours go from 0 to 23 in a 24-hour clock, and the minutes go from 0 to 59, and if I had a seconds, they would also go from a 0 to 59. So they're basically ints, right? And their property is that the second, the minute increments when it reaches 59 and goes back to 0, the hours goes up by 1. But these minutes will go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will go till 59 and then come again back to 0. So they are ints for sure, and they need an increment property associated with them, like a counter, right? And the counter is dependent. The counter is not just, and you won't call the counter like manually, now increment, now increment. We'll have to think of to do something with it so that it increments automatically. But what kind of instance variables will make up this clock if I wanted to create a clock? What will be the type of these instance variables? So if in the same project I wanted to create another Java class called clock display, what would be the instance variables in this class? Think about it. Right? What would be the instance variables? Let's hear some ideas. Wrong or right doesn't matter, right? How does it matter? Unless we put our ideas, we don't know whether they are right or wrong. So I have an idea because I know what I'm asking, but let's hear from you. What are the type of, so what do we need? In a clock, we need an hours, we need a minutes, and if seconds and so on, an alarm and all those are its extra properties, right? Setting the alarm, which is also setting a time, nothing else. So what do we need? If I just said, okay, a very simple 24-hour clock in which I want to show the value of hours and the value of minutes, that's all I'm looking for now, nothing else, no other functionality. What should be the type of this instance variables? Integers, okay, that's one option. Pranav says integers. Anything else? Think about it.
It could be number display.
Should it be integers or should it be objects of type number display? What would be a better composition for a clock? Karthik?
I think it should be a string to display the actual time.
Okay, but if it is a string to display the actual time, how will I make it +1 +1? That is a display. So the display is something else. So we need something to display it, right? So we need an instance variable to display it. So we'll say something like we need a string variable, and don't forget private. We need a string variable for the display. That's fine. That's no problem. But the actual values, so this is the display of showing the values. But inside, behind the scenes, we need actual integers that will go up by 1 and then come back to 0. And for the hours, we want to go till 23 back to 0. So these objects inside the clock display should basically be number display objects, because you've already done that job. What is a number display value? For a minute, think, what was your class? You had an int for the value, and you basically had the limit till where you wanted to go. And then there was an increment method inside the class that would like to increment it. So these jobs that you're thinking of now have already been done in a class. So what will you do? You will create a number display class. Let's call it hours, just so that it makes sense, right? You will have another number display object, which you will call minutes. And if I wanted to extend it to seconds, I would add another number display object of type seconds. How easy is that? right? This is exactly what you will have to do in your car class also. So in your car class, you will have your class car, and inside the car, your instance variables of the car will be, you will need an engine, call it whatever you like as long as it has a better name than E. You will need a gas tank object. You will need a body object, and you will need a transmission object. You may need something else, I don't know. But these four will definitely be composed. These four will definitely compose a car. That's composition. So a car has a body, a car has an engine, a gas tank, and a transmission. Similarly, a clock has two number display objects. This is called a has a relationship. And that's what is composition. Like you've been doing it till now. Remember how you had a club, like you had a membership object? And then what did you have inside the club? You said, I need an array list of these membership objects. That's composition again. What is an array list? A collection of what? Membership objects. So you are composing it. A club has memberships. And that's exactly what a clock has. A clock has a number display hour, and it also has a number display minutes, and so for seconds and so on. Right? We could go to any limits you want. And similarly, your car in your assignment will have an engine, have a gas tank, have a body, and have a transmission. These four classes you will define as you define all other classes with its instance variable, with its methods, such that now you can implement this class. And in here we'll have a method like drive a car, or maybe start a car, or maybe stop a car, and all this will come here, which in turn will call E dot something, right? GS dot something, or whatever. That's how you will make it work. You've done this before. You've done it over and over again. Products and stock manager, inventory. Whenever you wanted to sell a project, you said P dot sell product. So you're saying product, sell yourself. Again, composition. So you have been seeing it. Here it is more evident, like because you're using a single of each. Therefore, it is more evident. But you've been using compositions. Whenever you create more than one classes and they interact with each other, you're basically saying, I need something of this class, something is an object, or objects of this class in the other class. So now my hours is a number display object. My minutes is also a number display object, and so is my clock display. Let's write our, is it making sense? Nothing making sense? So composition simply means when a class has the objects of another class. Compose, the English word compose, consists of, composes, right? That's how you compose a car. If I say a classroom, what does a classroom have? A classroom has tables, has chairs, has a projector, has projector screens. That's how I compose a class. That's how I build a class. So what have I used? I've used other objects to build a class, right? That's composition. And then in the composition, it will interact with these objects to call their methods to do a job. So if I wanted to start a car, I would say close doors, engine start, accelerate, or whatever you would like to call it, change the speed or whatever, and you're ready to go. You're driving a car. The car has started. Right? Drive will also have accelerate. Start may not have accelerate. Start just means start. Then of course, if I want to drive it, all these things, then I'll put a gear. I'll say put the gear in, drive, and now accelerate. So you just have to think, what are the methods I need, and in what sequence do I need to call them in my class. So the methods that I need, I've told you, they will compose of nothing else but calls to the other methods. And if you want whatever methods you want, how will you close a door? You will have a Boolean variable, maybe door, or maybe 4 doors, door 1, door 2, door 3, door 4. And the Boolean variable you will set to true for maybe close, or false, whatever you like. How will you check if the door is closed? You will have a method called is door closed, which will return the value of that Boolean variable. Right? So it's all very manual. Like it's not mathematical. It's more of a conceptual thing, different from what you've done. So maybe something different will help those students who maybe logically can't say, mathematically cannot think, but at least can think this way. So that was the aim. Okay, give it a go. Okay, so let's write our constructors. Let's write now again, we'll start with, I'll write 2 constructors. One in which it takes no parameters at all. It's basically where your values will start from some default, right? So what do I definitely have to do in my constructor? I have to initialize my hours. And what should be the limit I must be passing it for an hours? 24. There. This counter will count from 0 to 23. That's exactly your 24-hour clock. So you can make the 24 a constant if you like. It would be better to make it a constant just because it makes more sense. How will you initialize your minutes? You again need a number display object, initialization, and you will call it with 60. Right? So by default, what will be the initial time will be set to 0000 because I haven't passed it any parameters. That it will be set to. And every time, whenever you need, not just close your eyes and every time, depends on where you are, always call the update display method. The update display method will update your clock display string. That has always to be taken care of, that it is showing you the current time. We'll come to it. Update display will just update it. We'll put values in, we'll just get value and show it. Okay, there's your constructor. Now, second, if you wanted to set the time of the clock to something, so now you're giving it an hour. Oh yes, thank you. This one did number display was throwing an exception there, right? This should have given us an error saying it needs to throw an exception. Maybe because it's still stuck on this one, it doesn't. Who knows? Let's see. It should say, it should give me an, yep, there it says it now. Doesn't show all errors at a time. Okay, so the update display will give you an error for now. Don't worry about it. We will take care of it, right? Now, if I give you an hour and I give you a minute value, I pass these values, set the hour to this and set the minute to this. Then somewhere we'll call a set time method and I'll pass this hour and minute to them. Oh, not time, minute. And again, this will also throw my exception. Because we are calling number display constructor and number display constructor throws it. So we have to either handle it or throw it. And we've said we will never handle exceptions in classes, we'll just throw them. Now let's write this set time just so that you can see it. It's a public method, void, takes set time, needs 2 parameters. It's like you can set up both of them or you can set each one of them, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And then what does it do? In turn, it calls the method set hour, which I'll write, and call the set minute. We'll see where to put the update display. We won't keep repeating it. If one method is doing it and the other is calling it, we won't keep writing it. That's what it does, right? So the constructor calls the set time method. The set time method is further calling the set hour and the set minute method. What are these methods now? That's one method. And it takes an int. I'm just keeping it the same name just because it is easy for me. How does it matter as long as you know? I still haven't called it hours, keep in mind. I'm still calling it hour. Okay, what does the hour do and what does the minute do? Think about it for a minute. I want to set the value in this hour's hand, right? That's what set hour should do. And the minute should set the value in this minute's hand. Right, so think about it. You created an object. In the object, now you want to set a value here. And if you don't set a value, then it sets it to 0, 0. That's my default constructor. My second constructor is saying, what value do you need to set? Tell me the time you want to set in this clock. I say I call the set time method. I say I want to set the hour here and I want to set the minute here. Now, when I set the hour, what should I be doing inside the set hour? How will I set a value here? Think about it. What kind of object is this? Hours. What is it? Number display. Is there a value called set value method there? Yes. Call that set value method here. With what? There, your hours is set. And of course, I think all these will be throwing my exception, right? Yep. So just kind of make it a point. Let's take this. Wherever it tells you you have to throw it, it's set minute throwing it. No, it isn't yet. This will definitely throw it. And this will definitely throw it. So it's like engine on. So I'm calling a method on of the engine class, which does what? Sets a value to the hour hand. And what will I do in this minute? I'll now call it with the minutes. It's the second object inside it, right? The car doesn't have two engines, but the clock has two number display. And I'll call its set value method, and I'll pass this minute that you've given me to it. My job is done. What doesn't it like? Return type is, oops, sorry, void. There. That's how I said it. That's exactly what you have to do. You've done it in your midterm retest also. When you want to sell something, you call the sell method of the product class. When you want to add stock, you call the restock method. That's exactly what I am doing. My clock has two number display objects. Now I have to work with them. I want to set a value here, call it set value method. I want to call it set a value here, call it set value method. And look at the sequence, how it is flowing. Look at how it is flowing. When you do not give it any parameters, a new object hours is created, and what happens? Value is 0. A new minutes is displayed. What happens? The value is 0. 0, 0, 0, 0 is what we will get when we show it, right? And then we update the display. In a minute, I'll write the update display. When you tell me to set the clock to a particular hour and minute, I again have to create the two objects. The two objects have always to be created. Like you always create an array list. You can't work without it. Otherwise, they are null. And then you call the set time method with hour minute. I just made it this way so that it was easy. You could have called set hour and set minute hands here also. You could. What does this allow you to do? You can set both the values together. A button that usually is not very useful because you always do it one at a time. But you're just saying I'll pass it two parameters and it should do both the jobs. So I wrote a method set time, which in turn calls set hour and set minute. My clock is ready to roll. But of course, that's all it will do. You can change a time, you can change an hour, you can change a minute if you want. No, I have to give both hour and minutes, then we'll make these private. But I don't think making them private is a good idea because maybe you're only changing the hour or maybe you're only changing the minute. So a clock is ready, right? The only thing that is not ready yet is I have to get the time. I have to get the time.
In the constructor, we have two constructors. Can we reference the first constructor to the second one, to the overloaded one?
Oh, you mean can I call it here is what you're saying?
From the second one.
From the second one, what do you want to say?
I want to call the first constructor without parameters, like using this keyword, I guess.
But why?
Because it's doing the both are doing the same thing.
Oh, you mean just these two statements?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. And okay, I've never thought about it logically. A method can call another method, but can a constructor call another constructor? Syntactically, I don't know.
We use if we put this and then in the parentheses we don't give parameters.
Yeah.
It calls the constructor without parentheses.
Yeah, it does. Like logically, it's not wrong.
But its purpose is for this. Like this is redundant. If you see, you're writing three things again and again.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that I've never seen constructors calling other constructors. Like normally, I've never seen it in code. That's why it kind of strikes out. But yeah, there is nothing wrong in it at all. Logically, it doesn't look wrong at all. You are saying call that constructor and then just set time to hour and minutes. The only problem will be the set time. The update display has to be done after the set time, because you only update the display after you set the time. So you can move this update display before and say, because these three statements are there, I can call the constructor. So, I mean, we can't call it for a reason here, but logically.
We can also do like set time first and then use the other ones.
Yes, you can do that. But set time will need a set hour and minute, and hour and minute are working with the objects hours and minutes. So they have to be done anew before you even do it. They have to be given a value before you do it.
It can't be done this.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, have you ever seen it in a Java class also? Like in a Java, we haven't seen the definitions of Java code, right? I don't know. Like logically, there is nothing wrong of calling a constructor in another constructor, but
I
to
did
be,
see it somewhere.
you did? Okay.
That's why I know like calling.
Yeah, calling is no problem at all. A method can call any other method in a class. Doesn't make any difference. I've never seen constructors being called, and that's why the question was odd. But logically, there's nothing wrong in it. But yeah, in our case, it will be a problem unless maybe if I can do something with update display and remove it from here or something. I don't know. Because here we'll definitely have to call it because we have to set it to 00, right? Here I can avoid it if I can. I'll have to do my update display actually. You know what? I will have to do it here for sure in my hours and minutes because anytime hour is changed, I'll have to change it. And anytime minute has to change, I will have to change it. So if I'm doing it here, I can remove it from here. But removing it from here is still not solving my purpose.
Now you can do it.
No, how come? Because this has an extra one.
Even if you remove this one.
No, I cannot remove this one. The only thing is I can do it and then it is anyway being changed again, so we are okay. Yeah, anyway we are doing it again, so even if it is a wrong value, it will be redone. Yeah, now you can, but I cannot remove this because here the clock is being, you have to set your hours and minutes to 00. That's why I cannot remove it. But yes, you can kind of remove these two statements and call the constructor, and the update display, if it will be set to 00, will again change to whatever. So we are okay. So it is redundant. One statement is redundant, but it is not wrong. Yeah, you can do that. Like, it's strange that the question came up. I've never seen it, but if you've seen it somewhere, like I've never done it is the case. Not seen it, I should say I've never done it.
For the large constructors.
Yeah, you're right. For the large constructors, it doesn't make sense to rewrite everything. If all of them are calling set, whatever, yeah, you're right. Yep, I don't see anything wrong in it at all. Logically, I don't see anything wrong in it at all. So the only thing in our case will be update display will be called once here. If I replace it by clock display, and then it will change and will put in the right value. So we are okay. Yep, you can do it then. There's no problem. Because here I definitely have to call them. Whenever I change the hour or the minute, I have to call them. There is no other way. Okay, so I can set my clock. I can set the time. I can do it. But that's not how a clock works. A clock should work automatically. In the sense, there should be some method inside the clock. I mean, I won't keep pushing that button every minute. I'll have to, in my application, I'll connect it to the system clock, say maybe, or something like that. The easiest way is that. But here now I need a method by the help of which I will have to basically make it work. Okay, so what will be the update display? Since it's a method that is kind of causing so many errors, all that the update display does is updates the display, puts a puts a value into the hours hand and puts a value into the other hand. So if this update display, now let me show you something. I'll do it the easy way first, the 24-hour clock, and then we can talk about the 12-hour in a minute, right? So take your clock display variable. In your clock display variable, I want to show the value of hours and I want to show the value of minutes. So with the hours hand, get the display value. And then plus, we'll just put a colon. And then we'll say minutes. Now it's not so necessary here to get display value. You can also say get value, because hours, it doesn't look odd if there is not a 0. I don't think I've seen a 0 in hours. No, you don't. You see a blank, right? So here maybe you can simply say get value if you like, right? It's not necessary, but here we definitely want to say get display value. Because like we don't want to see the minutes in this. That's how my clock display will be updated every time. And now, of course, if I want to get it, so this method is just updating it. If I want to get it, now what is it returning? It's a string. Always return what? This clock display. I'm not making the clock display return anything, guys, and that's logical because it just updates the clock. Every time if it returns it, even if you don't want to see the time, it will show it to you. So the get time returns it. Okay, so that's done. That's how you will do it. In a minute, we'll talk about the 12-hour display. I just want to finish off. I have time, but I want to finish off the class first and then. And now the most important method, the ticking of the clock. I need a public void method. You can call it time tick if you like, or tick time, whatever. This is the method you need to write now. So notice this is like a method inside the car, drive the car. For example, time tick is like drive the car now. So get time and update display are its own methods that are again doing what? Engine get oil level. Something like this. You know what I mean? Like inside now, inside the car class, you're going to use the methods of the objects that you have and just use them. Right? So this is like saying engine get your oil level and let me know. So you want to display something on the screen and you do it. And you will say, how will I reduce the oil level? You can do it manually. Manually in the sense there is a button which says reduce oil level, reduce oil level. And then how will you show that on the screen that the oil level has reduced? You will have to say something like check oil level. If the oil level is less than, make a point like 10, I don't know, then you can return a string and you can display it. Don't write anything in your classes, please. No printing in classes. All printing happens in the tester. All printing happens in the tester. Your classes can throw exceptions. Again, when will I throw exception? You think about it. When I can you give your oil a default? Can you fill your tank with minus 40 liters of gas? Cannot happen. Right? So all these things you have to think. When do I throw an exception? When can I give it a default value? When does something come on the screen? Whenever oil level goes below a certain level, you have to show it is going like your real car. Like, of course, not everybody drives cars. I don't. So I had to ask questions around from my husband and my children as to what does neutral mean and what does parking mean, things like this, because you have to know. So you have to find out all these things. For transmission, I had to go and Google it to find out what these transmissions were. So you have to get that knowledge too, so that you're doing things right. So if I see something new, I may say, oh, I didn't think of it. So I'm going to see every project first, kind of make notes that this is what was done, and then kind of will tell me, oh, this was necessary, has to be done, this can be avoided. You know what I mean? So anything that is necessary has to be in every project. So that's how I'm going to mark it, because I can mark it on what I think is right. So I'm going to look at all ideas, and maybe I've missed some ideas too. So therefore, I've given you a list of what I want. How you implement it is up to you. So it's kind of open to you. Okay, now the time tick method. What should you do? Every time this time tick method is called, so kind of think of it like you were pressing a button every minute, right? The minute has to go up by 1. And if the minute reaches its upper limit, the hour should go up by 1. That's how a clock works every minute, right? If you kind of think, there are no seconds, if there were seconds, then we would say seconds will go up every second. So you're pressing the button every second. But here, what happens if you have a digital clock at home, and that's what I'm thinking when I'm doing this, every minute the minute changes. So you're kind of saying, I press the minute hand every minute, next minute, and when it reaches 59, it changes the hour to the next hour. Okay, so what does the time tick method do? So think as if you were pressing a button called time tick. So there is a button. So minutes have to go up by 1. Increment it. Call the increment method on the minutes. Right? Is it throwing an exception? It says can't do that. I made it a private method, thinking that it cannot be called from outside class. Of course, the clock will need to call it. Oops. Yeah, or protected. But notice the protected also, if you do something in the tester, I can't restrict it to only being called in the clock class. I can still call it in the tester class. So protected will not help me. Protected still has package visibility.
I need it to be called by the tester also?
No, I only need it to be called by the clock display. But tester will also be present in that package. So tester will be allowed to call it. I cannot restrict it. So making it protected will definitely do one thing. I can call it outside the package. I can at least do that, right? But I can't restrict the tester not to call it. I can do that. And I can't do inheritance here. There is no inheritance here. So protected is not a bad idea. Definitely better than public, right? Okay, so where were we here? So increment it. Now maybe throwing an exception now. Yep. Okay, and now if if your minutes have reached its limit, that means your minutes hand, get the value of it is equal to 0. Remember, it will not have increment. So if you start from 0, increment first increments. So doing the increment is first important. It will go to 1 and then to 2. And then when it has finished 59, the hour will be increased. So it doesn't happen on the first go itself because I've incremented. Okay, if the value of get minutes has gone to 0, that means you've completed one full cycle, 0 to 59. So what must you do? You must hours increment the hours by 1. So take your hours number display object and call its increment method there. Right, so this is how the time tick will work. And anything else? Oh, and don't forget to call the update display method. I think that's it in time tick. I think so. I don't know. Looks okay to me. Increment the minutes, gets to 0, increment the hours, and update the display. So don't forget this, please. So we need an update display every time time changes, ticks. We need an update display anytime you change the minute or the hour. I didn't write it here because these two methods are doing it anyway. I didn't write it here because the clock display is calling set time and set time is calling update display. I had to do it here because it sets automatically, the values are set to 0 and 0. Okay. Okay. Any other important method in clock? I think we are done. Time tick, get the display. Let's test it. Any errors here? No. Write your tester. Now is the big question. How do I write the tester so that I make the clock tick on its own? Like I can't keep pressing the button time tick 1000 like every minute and it won't be right. So the easiest way, and it's not the most efficient because you will see that methods will be called in between and it will lose some time, but the most efficient way is this, connected to the system clock. Okay, so we'll do it like that. But here, let's do one step at a time. Keep in mind that the first thing you have to do is create a clock object. You can do it without any parameters, which is 00, 12 a.m. right? Or you can do it with some parameters. I don't want to give those parameters from here. So let's use, how did we get the time? Local time dot, there was a now method. And we've done this before, therefore I kind of remember it. And then get the hour. Yeah, looks okay. So I'm going to pick up the local time from the system. And I'm also going to pick up the hour and the minute from the system. So here will be get minute. And create a clock object. So what have you set your object to? Your clock object is now set to local time. So local time import. There. Clock. What isn't it like? Oh, clock display. Sorry. I've created just so that you can see it. I just put it in a different line so that you can see. Here. That's what I've done. I've created a new clock display object. It needs two parameters, hours and minutes, right? I've picked up the hours from the local time, get local time dot now will get it, and then get hour will get its hour, and minutes will get its minute. Right? You can look at it. You can say get time and it will show it to you. No big deal. Okay, now, just so that we do step at a time. If you remember, what isn't it like? Insert semicolon missing, it says. Okay, there it is. Semicolon is there. Okay. Now keep in mind that this constructor is throwing an exception. So now you are at a stage of your tester. You should be handling them. You should be handling your errors. So let's put this in a try block. And let's catch that error. What kind of error are we throwing? We are only throwing my exception, right? So let's say my exception. You can write an exception. You can just write exception and it will also work because my exception is extending from the exception class. And let's give a system out println. That's what you do. You have to give out messages to the user. And I'm sure we were getting some message back from E is just the name of the, oh, get message. message is in Visual C# here. This is how I'm handling it now. So try to create a clock object. If you cannot create it, you'll say, why can't I create it? Maybe you give this wrong. Instead of here, try to give something like 100. Can you give a value of 100 to your clock? No. Try to give an invalid value, say -2. You cannot set a value. Notice what you said, my value should be between 0 and limit -1. And what is your limit? 24 for the hour and 60 for the minute. You'll say, where did I set that in your clock? That's where you set it. Remember, that's the two things you did. Look at the constructor. What did you set your hours to? And your minutes to 60. So can I say, just for the heck of it, let's comment that out for a minute. Let's do something like this, 123. The minutes are okay. At a time, it can only catch one exception anyway. Even if I do minutes wrong, it will still say hours is invalid. This will throw an exception. Right, let's try it.
We need the main.
Oh, of all the things. This has to go in the main method. Public static void main. Thank you. Otherwise, what is wrong? What is wrong for 4 hours? String args. Let's do a main here and let's end the main here. Okay, let's try this. What happens? Looks perfectly fine, right? Looks perfectly fine, but my clock cannot be created with this. So let's see. Will it catch this exception for me? Invalid value 0 provided. Who's coming with 0? Oh, something is wrong there. Oh, something is wrong somewhere. Notice my error is wrong. Invalid value 0 is provided. Value of the number counter must lie between 0 and -1. Something is not right. Okay, so what is happening? Constructor is being called. Clock display constructor is being called. Constructor calls the first and the second one. Oh, where are we? Here, we are here. And set hour and minute. Okay, set hour and minute is calling set hours. Set hours is calling set value. Set value. Okay, let's go to set value. Something is wrong in set value then. Okay, what is set value doing? Replacement value comes in. Replacement value is 123. And limit is showing as 0. Uh-oh, how is limit 0? Okay, so let's, number display 24, number display 24. Set value 0 is not causing a problem. Set value 0 is causing a problem. Why is it causing a problem? Should the limit be set first? That's why limit is -1. That's why it is saying 0 to -1. Should the limit be set first? See, it's causing a problem. What is happening is set value is going to 0. When set value is 0, it is replacing the value with 0. Why is this happening is the biggest thing. Something is not right here. Value is 0. So set value is called. Value has a value of 0. So this is not causing the problem. Set limit is, no, set limit is, the error is this one. Okay, let's look at what is in set limit. Okay, we have a set limit also. No, set limit has no exception. The exception is being thrown from here. Oh, I know why. Oops. Because of this. No, even this is right. Get value is greater than get limit. What is it getting? 0 is greater than equal to limit.
We're not even calling the set limit.
Yeah, we are not even calling. We are getting a problem here. But why is this causing a problem? Set value is 0. See what's happening? Replacement value is greater than equal to 0. It is equal to 0. And it is less than the limit. Oh, limit is 0.
It's 24.
No, not yet, because we haven't set it. At this point of time, limit is 0. At this point of time, limit is 0. So shall we set the limit first and then set the value? Set, no, then it will have another problem. The set limit will, the limit, if we call the limit first, what will happen?
Set the limit when we create the object.
Give me a minute. If the limit is greater than 0, limit is set to 0. If the value is greater than equal to 0, I think this will work. If we take this, because value is dependent upon limit, right? Value is dependent upon limit. The problem was coming because the limit was not set. Value depends upon the limit. Limit doesn't depend upon the value. Limit is just a value. But the value is dependent upon limit because of this. See, because of this. Notice this statement. Yeah, okay. Let's try it again. Makes sense. Okay, now it makes sense, right? That's what we wanted. Exactly. I said invalid value 123 was provided. The value must lie between 0 and 20. The problem was I was setting the value first and then the limit. Now the value is 0. When it tried to set itself, greater than equal to 0 was like greater than equal to 0 and less than limit. It was not less than limit minus 1. Limit was 0 by default. So 0 minus 1 was minus 1. Yeah, that was the problem. Sequence was wrong. Again, you have to be careful. Same thing that I did in the constructor when I gave you the product class. I called set maximum quantity first, then I called the set quantity, and then I called the set reorder, because both those were dependent upon the maximum quantity. So how you call it in the constructor is important if one is dependent upon the other. Right? So that's what has to be done. Okay, so take care of that. Okay, so that's done. So that means we have caught this error. So one job done. So you should now in your application start catching errors. Don't throw them. You could have said throws here. And I don't care. Main says I don't care. But no, main should care now. Right? Main should care because it's taking care. Okay, now, once my clock is ready, let's try to do more jobs inside it. What jobs do we want to do now? We want to, of course, make the time tick. Right? We want to tick time. But we want to make it tick every minute. Okay, so we'll have to write a while true because it has to tick forever. And what do we want to do? We want to, with my clock, but this will keep, we'll have to say only tick it once per minute. Right? We have to say once per minute. Now here is where we have to say, how do we make it to tick once every minute? And here I'm going to introduce you to a very simple example of a thread. A thread in Java is basically a running process. So while your tester is running, it's called a thread. You can have multi-threads running, and that's quite complicated. I'll keep away from it. I've not done any good practical example on it so that I can explain it to you as if it was theoretical. But this, what I'm doing, is very simple to understand. What do I want to do? I want to say thread is a class in Java, right? I want to say sleep for some time. And it's in milliseconds. So 60,000 milliseconds will make 1 minute, right? So I've said sleep. Whom am I making sleep? You're saying, who are you making sleep? Thread. Who is the thread? The running process. Who is the running process? Tester. I'm saying sleep for 60 minutes. Get up, tick again, sleep. Tick again, sleep. And after tick, I also want to do what? I want to show the time too, right? So show the time. Yes. Give me a minute. I've seen it. Thank you. Give me 1 minute. And we want to show what? What was it called? Get time. Okay, so system.out.println. Thank you. There. Up there. And what is now? What doesn't it like? Oh, semicolon. There. What doesn't it like about get time? Wasn't it? Oh, get time. Whose get time? My clock get time. Okay, now you still have an error here. And look at the error. It says unhandled exception of type interrupted exception. What is this interrupted exception? Let me explain in a layman language. When a lot of threads are running, it is a multi-thread program. Various programs are running in you. They're not running consecutively, but to the user, they appear that they're running one after another, whatever they're doing. when a thread is running and it has finished, it's completed what it was doing, it interrupts the other main thread saying, I've done my work. That's how they work. Instead of the main checking, are you done, are you done, are you done? That thread which is running tells the main thread my work is done. So it interrupts it. And this is called interrupted. Like this, when the main thread which was calling the other threads is interrupted, it throws an interrupted exception. Now, till now, we've never got this problem in syntax. While I'm writing the code, it has never told me you are missing an exception unless that exception has to be handled. So this gives you an idea that why is it telling me about interrupted exception? Because interrupted exception is an exception which the user has to handle. Remember how I said exceptions come in two groups. Something that you have to handle and something you can ignore. Ignore means unchecked, let them go. And checked ones have to be handled. So something like null pointer assignment, arrays out of bound, division by 0. If you don't do them, what happens? You run your code, the JVM catches them and gives you those red lines and says you have an error. You don't have to necessarily do anything about them in your code. But these type of exceptions that are checked exceptions, and interrupted exception is a checked exception, has to be handled. You just can't say throws. You have to handle it. It's a rule, right? And how do I know? Because they told me, right? So which exception is which exception is causing problem? Interrupted exception, right? So what will I do? The same thing that I did before. I'm going to put it in try, right? I'm going to say try to do this. And if you cannot do it, what was it? Interrupted. Catch this because I know what kind of exception. If I didn't know, I would just write exception here. And if something occurs because I know that I don't know what will it say, or it's not something that I created, or I don't know, I'm just going to say, show me your message. Tell me what happened. And hopefully the message will not be bad. I don't know how bad or good it will be, but the message won't be bad. This is my simplest way of handling it. Show the message on the screen. So with my exception, it shows a good message because I have written those messages. I don't know what it will throw with an interrupted exception, but whatever it says, hopefully will make some sense to us. Now I can't make it happen to show you what will happen because I can create threads and then call them and then make them interrupted. So I don't know what will happen. But what have I done? I've handled them. Now let me see. If I don't do this, what should you do? And it is again doing this, right? Let's see. I'm almost positive it is an unchecked, but I'm still just to be sure. Because if you get it in a syntax error, something is not right. Okay, so I can throw it further to the JVM. But I have to do something about it. And that something is, I would highly recommend that you handle all exceptions in the tester class. Because then otherwise the purpose is lost. If you give it to the JVM, what's the sense? Like messages will not come on the screen at all. So why did you create the my exception class with all those messages? I could have said throws my exception and not even write my first try block. But I don't want you to do that because the job of the application is now to take care of it. So you could, but stop doing that now because I said do it in classes, but don't do it in your application. Don't do it in your application. Handle them yourself. And it's not a big job handling them. All we do in handle is basically show some message on the screen. What else do we do? Nothing. Right? Now so we will see. Is our program running yet? No, because my 123 is still wrong. My 123 is still wrong, right? Oh, where is your... No, not you. Sometimes, okay, no, sometimes it just doesn't go where it has to go. Okay, there. So what should I do? Now I'll remove this thing that I had written, which was not, I didn't want to do it this way. If you give it a right value, it will be okay, guys. Here, let's say 12, what is it? 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock means 12 and 4, 16. Right? If I do this, now this is too long. It will take a minute. If you want to reduce it just to see that it is working, I can reduce it a little. There. This is doing it every 600 nanoseconds. The minute will just take a minute. That's all it will do. So it is working, right? But I don't even want to do this. I say pick up, oops, okay, we'll have to stop it this way because we are in a while true loop. We'll have to finish it this way. Okay, so I don't even want to do this. What do? I say pick up the current time. I mean, so you can do this. There is nothing wrong in it. I just thought this would be more like practical to show you so that I could show you the local time class also. So now it will pick up the current time. It will do it. And what will happen with 00, by the way? It will just start with 12 a.m. You can even do this. Nothing stops you. Remember, you can use the empty constructor. This is perfectly fine too. What will it start with now? 00. That was its default time. Except that it doesn't show the first 00 because I think I did the printing after it. So it doesn't show the 00. If you put the printing before it, then it will show it. So now this will be after every minute. If you have the patience, leave it running and it will run, and every minute it will change. Now, this is almost perfect, but not perfect. Why? Because after it sleeps, it prints something to the screen and then the time ticks. So time is lost. You see, the time is lost. You are writing something to the screen, whether it's a nanosecond, whatever it is, but the time is lost. So over time, you will start losing time. Over time. Right? So if something is written to the screen, a method is called. So it will take some time, whether it's the fraction of a nanosecond, but it will take some time. So over the long run, if you let your clock run maybe for 24 hours, it will go off sometime after some time. I mean, when it accumulates. So nanoseconds will change into seconds, into minutes or something. A minute, you will see that the clock has gone back by a minute. But that's the best way I can show you of how to connect it to the system clock, and the easiest also. I'm sure there are better ways where no time is lost. Okay. Now all looks okay, except this 24-hour clock doesn't look too neat, right? I mean, we recognize what it is, but if we could show the clock display as a 24-hour clock, it would be a little better. So let's do it. I'm going to comment this out just so that we know. Okay, how do you convert a 24-hour clock into a, we've done this in another example. I just do it in a way where I know it's simple and clean. Okay, so I'm going to take some local variables. I'll take an int hour and get your hour. Right? I'll take a string and I'll assume it is AM. And of course, I won't keep this assumption unless I do it. Wasn't it called get hours? What doesn't? Oh, throws an exception? No, it is undefined. Where am I? Clock display. Oh, clock display. Okay, so clock display. Hours dot get value. Not get hour, get value. There, right? So get the hours and assume that the string is that it's AM. Of course, we can't assume till we've done it. Okay, let's write an if statement. Remember, there were problems. They were not problems. You have to be careful of two 12s. One 12 that occurs at midnight has to be shown as 12 AM, and the 12 that occurs during the day has to be shown as 12 PM. Because in a 24-hour clock, that's a 00 at 12 AM. And at 12, if I subtract 12 from it, I get a 0. So I have to be just careful about it. So we'll do it. Now, if your hour value is greater than or equal to 12, just subtract 12 from the hours. This is taking care of 13 will become 1, 14 will become 2, 15 will become 3, but 12 will also become 0. Right? 12 will also become 0. And don't forget, we have to do another thing. Suffix is equal to PM. Suffix is equal to PM. So this looks okay, but the problem is there's still two problems. One, the 0 AM problem still stays. I haven't done, what do I do with the 0? I have to change the 0 into a 12. And here also, when it's 12 PM, 12 minus 12 will be a 0, and I also have to change it to 12. So if I write a single statement, it will take care of both. I'll say if the hour value is 0, change it to 12. Taken care of both my problems. Because I have two things. 0 at night is a 12. 12 minus 12, when I do it here, you'll say, why do we subtract it here? Let's not do it here. You may not, but then I still have to change the suffix to PM. So I thought this would just be a quicker way of doing it. Okay, subtract it, change the suffix. Now just do this. Takes care of both the 12s, right? And now display it. Now how will you set your clock display? But now here we don't have to say hours, we have to say hour, because that's what we calculated, right? And plus we also have to show what with it? The value of suffix. There. I mean, if you want a blank and so on, you can. This way AMs and PMs will come kind of a little suffocated. We can just put a blank. That will show as a 12-hour clock. So we've done this logic before. We just did it using ternary operators and made it more complicated. I thought this was a better and easy way of doing it. So the two problems are coming when the hour is 12. I've taken care of that saying if hour is equal to 0, make it 12. Since I don't need it to be 2-digited, I'm okay. Otherwise, I would have to change it into a 2-digit here. Remember, with hours, we are fine. So just write hour here. Okay, now let's see how it looks. I've only changed the display. But internally, the clock is still working as a 24-hour clock. Now, you could have completely changed the clock to a 12-hour clock, which was definitely more work. Here, it's just the display. How does it matter? Internal working is still that. Let's try the tester again. Where are you? Somewhere. Still running. Is it here? Oh, seems like no. Uh-oh. Am I running more than one consoles? Let's just cancel everything. Okay. Let's try it again.
But it will take 1 minute.
Oh, but I said show me the time. Oh, I made it sleep first. Oops. So show the time first, then sleep, and then tick. Yeah, it will take a minute before it comes. Okay, no, I don't have that patience. So let's do it this way. Okay, so let's show the time first. At least the first time comes first. Then let it sleep, then tick, then show the time. Irrespective of how you place it, time will still be lost. I mean, there is no restriction about that. So this will now tick after a minute. It will, uh-oh, time is wrong. Oh, because I set it to 12 a.m. So it is right. I thought I set it to 4 the current time. No, I haven't set it to the current time. Okay, so it is fine. It will in a minute change to 12:01 a.m. So if you wanted a little space between AM and whatever, just change it. Just put an extra blank there. But it will after a minute become 12:01 and then 12:02. But it will take a minute. You have to have some change, right? That's composition. How a clock display class consists of is composed of two number display objects. This is composition, and it's like you can see, you know what I mean? You've been doing it. Whenever you have created an inventory, whenever you have created a club, whenever you have an array list of something, you're basically doing composition. But then you were not paying attention to it because you were more busy with the array list methods. Here it's straight to the other. So this is where this rests, your assignment rests. So your assignment you will first define your engine, your car transmission, your gas tank classes, like I have done my number display class. And then you will use those classes, you will create objects of those classes inside your car class, and then use the methods of these classes to maybe drive a car, stop a car, start a car, or whatever other methods are used. Right? That's what composition is. I thought I would have an hour at the end, and I didn't do any steps, but anyway. I'll write the comments afterwards and give it to you, but at least one thing that came out was the set method. And I could have saved it. I could have done that if I had done an initialization. Instead of calling the set method, if I had just initialized it, and that is what I think I did on my own when I wrote it. If you just do a value equal to 0, then you won't have a problem. Then you won't have a problem. I think I didn't call the set method when I was doing it, and therefore I didn't have a problem. But if you call the set value method, then you have to be careful that the sequence is. See, a small thing also makes a difference. If I had assigned it, I was fine. But when I called the set method, it triggered the limit, and the limit was 0, and it triggered that -1 value. So you have to be careful of the code. You definitely like run it and see. And I didn't have a problem in the tester. I was giving it all kinds of invalid values because I had done values equal to 0. And there it doesn't matter whether you do it before or after. It doesn't matter. So programming is something that you have to do and check and then see if things are going wrong, go back from where it is causing problems and try to set it right. And that's the best part about programming. You know what you're doing. You can handle it. You can take care of it, right? So that is working, except that, as I said, after some time, it will go off. It will go off by some time, right? So I just showed you that you could do it using 00, and that is perfectly fine. You can try it. Even the PMs will work. So what will happen after 11:59? That's an AM right now, right? 11:59 is an AM right now. It should start with 11:59, and after a minute, it should become 12 PM, right? It should become 12 PM. So you can check if these are the only problems that can occur. So check your extreme points and check these 12s, and you will be okay. So the AM was working okay, the 00 was showing AM, so that's fine. Now I've set it to 11:59 AM, then set it to 11:59 PM to see whether it goes to AM. And if it does, you know it is working. Now, since I don't have time to go through the example that is on Blackboard, I would recommend that you pull down that example. It is about an auction system, right? And that auction system is basically dealing with 5 classes. So I'll give you a rough idea. In an auction, lots are being auctioned. Lots means just lots, right? It could be any item. I just took them to be lots. When lots are auctioned, every lot has a bid. So I need a bid class. What is a bid? The bid that you make. The bids are made by some persons. So I created a person class. So you have a person class to define the person. In the bid class, you have a composition. A bid is done by a person. So you have a person object inside it and a value. Then the lot class has its description, an automatic number is given to it, and then it is a collection of bids, and it also stores the highest bid. And then auction is nothing but a collection of lots, and then you can find out who did it, who didn't. I mean, because persons are being saved, person information is being saved. So that class is composed of person, bid, lot, and auction, and then of course the rest. So I would highly recommend that you go through it in this time. I can do it next week. I can do it with you next week, but go through it so that we can do it quicker next Thursday, right? So that way at least you've seen it, and maybe it will give you some idea when you do your assignment. But this was important that I wanted. Okay, so it is working, right? So it was going to 12 PM. So you can do the same thing on the other side. Instead of starting with 11:59, you'll have to write 23:59. That's your 11:59 PM. So it will start with 11:59 and then it should change to 12 AM. So if these things are working, we are okay. Right? That means our class is okay. So please go through that other example on Blackboard, like, I don't know if you want to take printouts or whatever. So it's just a way of getting your head around something. But this I wanted to do it with you so that you could get this into your head and kind of project it into your talk. This is exactly what we are trying to do in a composition. I had to keep it simple. I couldn't do so many classes. So I kept it to a number display and a class. Okay. So this was the aim, to show you composition today. So it should, if it does, then it's working fine. Okay, so that takes care of composition. So as I said, I want to cover 2 more topics. One, definitely the JUnit testing, but again, it will be done as one example. Can't do much about it. I can't keep doing it. So I'll just pick up some classes, show you how it is done, and I'll try to use it in my final exam. Right? I won't expect you to necessarily do it, but I'll try to use it so that if you've seen it, you know how it works. And then the second thing I'm aiming is that if I can show you another example of a collection, like a hash map or a tree map, there are so many, and they can do so many things. Like there is a sorted map that can, if you pass it a list or something, it sorts it. Like there's immense. You have so many options. So let me look for something easy that can be done in a class and can get the idea inside your head too. So you've seen another collection, right? So those are the 2 things I want to cover in the next 2 weeks. And I'll do the auction one very quickly with you, but quickly means it will still take 50 minutes. Right, so this one is also working. So if your extreme times are working, that means it is working. And once I've completed this, once I've completed the commenting and everything, I should have it somewhere, I forget. But anyway, once I've completed this, I'll put it for you on Blackboard. If you want it right now, I can do what we did in class today right now. But it's without comments.